What happens when a strong black woman meets a white woman that's desperate to save someone that didn't ask to be saved? In Ryan Coogler's movie Sinners, we get something rare, a masterclass in archetypes. On the surface, it's a movie about vampires and a Jim Crow South. But underneath, it's about gender, entitlement, power, race, and so much more. On one end, we have Annie, the protector, the priestess, the embodiment of a strong black woman archetype. And on the other hand, we have Mary, a woman who, despite having good intentions, allowed her white savior instincts to walk those that she claimed to care about into the face of danger. This isn't just about Annie or Mary. It's about the strong black woman, the white savior complex, both tropes riddled with history. This video isn't to demonize one character or the other. It's an exploration on how the roles of these two women functioned in the movie Sinners, and how oftentimes the partner you choose can literally be life or death. Let's get into it. And I just want to leave a quick disclaimer. I am not in any way, shape, or form bashing the movie Sinners. I've seen it twice now, and I plan on seeing it a third time because it was that good. Obviously, both Annie and Mary both had roles to play within the film, and both of their roles were very important. This is just an exploration on the tropes that these two women fall into and how it affected their respective counterparts. So yes, there will be plenty of spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it, come back and watch this video because it was that good. Please go see the movie. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, don't forget to hit the subscribe button already because you're already here. I mean, why not? But if you're still on the fence, it's okay. You can wait until the end of the video to hit subscribe, okay? Now let's get into the video. Now, what is the white savior trope? The white savior complex refers to the belief or behavior where a white person believes they have a responsibility or right to save or help non-white people, often in developing countries without fully considering the agency and expertise of the people they are purportedly assisting. This concept is seen as a modern manifestation of colonialism, where whiteness is positioned as superior and capable of guiding or rescuing those perceived as less capable. Now, I know Mary's entire role in this film was not simply about being a white savior, but she did have a white savior complex and entitlement issue. I'll explain why. Mary was a white woman racially, but ethnically was 1/8 black, due to her mother's father being half black. Mary was a woman that couldn't take no for an answer due to her desire for a man that didn't want to be with her due to the danger of their relationship. Mary, despite having a very small percentage of African ancestry, was still viewed as a white woman in the eyes of society. Therefore, Stack could have easily been unalived or harmed if people even thought that they were in a relationship. He turned her down at multiple points. Did he do it in a mature way? Well, from what we heard, he got up and left her in the middle of the night. So no, he didn't. But at the end of the day, no means no, and if somebody doesn't want you, they don't want you, especially in a time like this and in a circumstance like this. But despite this, she continued to force her way into Stack's life and his establishment, aka his juke joint, which was created primarily for the black residents of the city. Therefore, not only putting herself and Stack in danger, but everybody else at the juke in danger if police or whoever decided to show up and saw that this white woman was in there. So Mary's presence here isn't just annoying, it's quite literally dangerous. Historically, white women have been able to move through black spaces with kind of entitled audacity, whether intentional or not. From the days of Jim Crow to now, their proximity to blackness has often come with danger, not for them, but for the black people around them. A white woman entering a black space could bring deadly consequences, whether it was false accusations or just false perceptions as a whole. So when we get to the part in the movie, whenever Stack is telling Mary about how they just really aren't making enough at their juke joint, and Mary absolutely insists on going out and speaking to what we know are vampires, vampires. Despite all the other main characters saying that the vampires gave them weird vibes and Stack turning down her offer multiple times, she just absolutely insists, I guess as a way to get in his good graces, like, oh, maybe if I get some more money in their till, then he'll finally want to be with me. I don't know. Either way, she takes her happy behind out there and obviously turns into a vampire and subsequently turns Stack into a vampire as well. And Mary's desire to help Stack is honestly and truthfully selfish, although she may not have seen it that way. It was selfish. Her desire to play into the white savior complex in order to impress Stack or get him back completely overruled the safety of everybody else in the juke. And at the end of the day, this behavior isn't allyship, it's saviorism, and obviously doomed everybody else. Now, would the vampires have gotten them regardless? More than likely. But did she kickstart the vampires getting them a little bit sooner? Absolutely. People were saying that these vampires were giving them the willies, okay? But yet she, for some reason in her mind, felt that her authority and her opinion was more important than what everybody else was saying. And then when we couple this with the fact that Mary was very almost entitled to the twins in a way, like the fact that she mentioned at multiple times in the film that her mother took care of them and took them in, and how they didn't do anything to repay her after she passed away. They didn't send flowers to her funeral. They didn't go to her funeral, which would it have been nice if they would have done so? Absolutely. Is it kind of messed up that they didn't go? Abso-freaking-lutely. But just because your mother took care of these people 20 years ago doesn't mean that you're entitled to anything from them, especially not a romantic relationship. And this level of entitlement and pushing herself on Stack literally could have got him unalived. I mean, in a way it did. Let's say the vampire storyline never existed. Them being seen together could have gotten him, because obviously we know the clan is thriving in this town, and ultimately the twins' biggest dream was freedom. They wanted to be free to live their lives, and Mary's presence in Stack's life honestly, truthfully, wouldn't have equated to freedom. It would have been a life of being on the run forever, because they would never be able to comfortably settle down anywhere without there being consequences. But I guess we never got that far, so. Now I want to get into Annie. Annie's character is a great example of the strong black woman trope. The strong black woman schema, as defined by scholars, is an archetype of how the ideal black woman should act. This has been characterized by 3 components: emotional restraint, independence, and caretaking. Now, if that doesn't exemplify Annie, I don't know what does. Annie was a priestess who did everything she could to keep Smoke alive throughout the movie, and obviously before the movie, before, we get to the point of seeing the movie. Clearly they have some history there, and Annie provided Smoke with a necklace years prior. It's called a mojo bag, not a necklace, in order to keep him safe through her hoodoo practices. Now, some points in the movie where Annie exemplified the strong black woman trope are as listed, and I'm sure I might miss some, but these are the ones that stand out to me. So obviously Annie and Smoke had a child, and Annie was left in Mississippi by herself to deal with the loss and the grief of losing a child, while Smoke went off to Chicago with his brother in the pursuit of freedom or whatever kind of life he was looking for. After all of this, 7 years later, he shows up at her home unannounced and insisted that she come and cook for them for the opening of this new juke joint. Which, do I believe her catfish would have been phenomenal? Absolutely. So I understand why he would ask. But asking her to play into this role is leaning into not only the strong black woman archetype, but also the mammy archetype, playing into that caregiver, caretaker role. He knew to go ask Annie because she would say yes, and she would do it for him because she loved him and cared about him. Was this fair to her? Absolutely not. But he still asked nonetheless. Also, I just want to qualify, I don't see Annie as a mammy character. I'm just saying by Smoke asking her to partake in this activity of cooking for everyone, it leans into the mammy character trope slightly. But I do see Annie as more than a mammy character, and I'm going to make a video next week about why seeing her a plus-sized, dark-skinned black woman as a love interest is so important. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify this because I know I can see the comments already. She isn't a mammy or a motherly figure. She is so much more than that. Now, if we can fast forward a little bit, after Stack's character was by Mary the vampire, you know, the drooler, that scene was disgusting, by the way. Despite the fact that she was just as scared and in shock as everybody else around her, she immediately showed strength by stepping up and taking charge in that situation. She suggested that they put his body outside, which obviously Smoke didn't listen, but she still suggested it nonetheless. Whenever Cornbread came up to the door and asked to be let in, she immediately sensed something was wrong and ultimately protected everybody else and kept everybody else safe by having this hesitance to letting him in. She immediately clocked it and again is protecting and keeping everyone in the juke joint safe. She then took charge by gathering supplies from around the juke joint, whether it be wood to make steaks, garlic, etc. And whenever Stack ultimately broke out of the closet he was locked in, threw the pickled garlic on him so that he wouldn't attack anybody in the juke joint. Like, she is continuously showing up and showing out for the people around her, despite the fact that she is brand new in the situation just like everybody else. She's showing a level of strength that a lot of the other characters aren't showing or are showing in different ways, if that makes sense. And then if we can fast forward, whenever her and Smoke were having the conversation about if she was to be turned, you know, to a vampire or if she was to be bitten, that he should take her out. I mean, literally in the face of her own death, she more than likely knew that she wasn't going to make it through the night. And instead of balling up in the corner and crying, she was making sure that she wouldn't be put in a position to harm anybody else in the juke joint if she turned into a vampire, which I think is very interesting because if I was in her position and I knew I was about to pass, I don't think I would have that much like wherewithal to be able to sit someone down and have this conversation with them. I would be a mess. Let's just be honest. In this film, Annie played so many roles, okay? She played into the mammy character by cooking the fish in the kitchen. She played the protector role of everybody in the juke joint. She brought wisdom due to her hoodoo priestess status. While being a grief-stricken mother living in the South, dealing with Jim Crow, just like everyone else, she has the same problems everyone else has, but yet she continuously stepped up and was exactly what everyone needed at all the right moments. She did not get the luxury of spiraling, of crying, throwing up. There was no time for that. And although she was playing into the strong black woman archetype, I would argue that this really isn't even strength. It's more sacrifice than anything else. The twins spent their entire life running around looking for freedom, running from grief, from guilt, from abuse, racism, and the weight of the world as a whole. And Mary's persistence and dangerous entitlement offered him a different type of escape and really gave him a life sentence. I feel like turning him to a vampire really trapped him in a way and almost stole his future. Hear me out. Despite the fact that he's a vampire who's going to live for eternity, when speaking in that end credit with Preacher Boy or Sammy, he states that the best day of his life was that fateful day when everything went down, because for a few hours he got to feel free. He truly felt a small taste of freedom. It was the last time he got to see the sun. It was the last time he got to see his twin brother. He will never experience that level of freedom or happiness ever again in his life for eternity. Imagine living the rest of your life knowing the best day of your life is behind you, and imagine the rest of your life being forever. Meanwhile, Annie was the one who honestly truly got her partner Smoke freedom by helping him stay alive and making it through this vampiric ordeal so that he could remain human. He was allowed to actually pass away, which you would think, okay, he died. Like, how is that a good outcome? Well, his soul got to move on and be with Annie and their son, which is what he really wanted. So if we could argue that his freedom, his ending was a lot more freeing than his brother Stack's ending was. And it's all because of the partner he chose, which was Annie. So what does this mean? The people you tie your soul to can either lead you to eternal sadness or eternal happiness. So choose wisely, because some people want to love you while others want to own you. There's a difference. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment in the comment section down below. Have you seen the movie? And if so, I would love to hear your opinions about it, because I have a lot of my own opinions about it. I loved it. So leave those comments in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.